Right. So what direction is the light coming from?
The top left.
Top left?
No,
Not.
top right.
Top right. Diana, what's the first thing that tells us this?
The shadow.
Yeah. The shadow, there's a tiny little bit of shadow popping this way, but mostly the shadow, although I see your point.
Because if you look at the top leaf.
Yeah, this leaf is by far the lightest.
There's two lights.
There are two lights, but if you look at this leaf is clearly the lightest of all. So, okay, I'll actually allow that because there is a shadow going off this way. There's a little bit of a poof coming off this way. But what Diana and I are looking at is that this leaf is clearly the lightest of all three. Can you guys see that? Clearly. So there's more than one light source, but really the primary light source is coming in this way. Does that make sense? Well, now I look at this, it's more complicated than I thought.
It might.
Every week, Leah.
I know. I'm always like, this one will be easy. Nope.
No.
There might be two lights coming in. There might.
Yeah, okay. So I'll actually accept both answers. There is a light coming from the top, and then there's a light, but there's definitely a strong light coming from the left, because this is by far the lightest leaf here. And then there's this little light bit in here. I mean, there's definitely darks. There's definitely weird stuff happening with the shadow down here, but I would say the primary light source is kind of hitting this way. Otherwise, this would be brighter. Okay, hang on. I'm going to take a picture of this so you guys have the black and white. And I thought this would be a good subject to kind of talk about dividing into pieces. Almost like sections. There is the kind of piece, right, that is the plants. It's kind of in that little envelope. There's the pot. And then there's the shadow. Right? Each of these pieces kind of intersects with each other. And I think this is a good way of kind of thinking about the subject, because when we're starting to draw, here I'm setting this up so you can really see it, these three different subjects, we kind of have to make sure we've got space for all three areas. Obviously, the plant part takes up like a significant amount. Like if I were to go from here to here, you can see, and in fact, if we were to draw a line kind of straight down from here to here, right? The halfway point would be, I think, probably, yep. Basically, the plant takes up a little bit more than half of the distance, and the pot and the shadow are in the bottom half, right? They're kind of sharing the bottom half. Does that make sense? So here, let me mark this with a pastel so you can really see what I'm talking about. Here's halfway point. So the plant takes up all this, right? The pot and the shadow are kind of left in this bottom half. So as you're sketching, I'm going to actually do this here. I'm going to draw. This is an 8 by 10, and I've actually taped it. I'm going to find my halfway point. And I'm actually going to kind of sketch in my plant shape, which comes down a little bit below the halfway point here. It kind of comes up, over, down. This is a kind of envelope of shape. I wouldn't probably sketch this in normal circumstances, but I think this helps when you're just learning how to draw, to figure out where things are in relation to other things. And then, let's see, I would divide this half into quarter points. Two. Yes. So if I divide this half in half, no, sorry, it's up here. 1, 2, so from here. Here. Right, I know the pot kind of lays about here, and then maybe about here, right? Top and bottom of the pot. Actually, pot comes down lower. The pot is literally half of the half. So pot is here and here. And then the shadow kind of comes in like this above the edge of the, right? The shadow kind of comes in. So I think of these things as kind of helpful to have these pieces in place. There's this chunk of the plant. There is the pot itself. What happens otherwise is you tend to draw these things too big. You don't leave enough room for this or this. The shadow is kind of a neat part of this. And so is the plant. And then I would start with the pot. By the way, I think we should be super flexible. I'll show you how to mix colors for what this color is, because it's simple, which is kind of nice. And if I want to, I can even check, like, okay, how wide is this? The width is about the same as the height. And then I can sketch in. I like to do actually the leaves first in something like this, and then I like to bring the stems out to them. So in this case, the leaf kind of, outer shape of the leaf kind of extends out. Look at the shape pretty carefully. I know it extends out beyond the edge of the pot. I know it's probably about half the pot. I think that's all you need. Monsterra are really pretty plants. But do you guys understand this thinking that I'm talking about? This sort of block, like you kind of want to see what these blocks are in relation to each other.
Yeah.
And you should be, and we should be thinking kind of like, as you're starting to lay things out, I want to make sure I have room for these things. And that is the thing that's the hardest to do. Let me take a picture of this so you can really see it all sketched out. And this as well, as we're starting to get it. So I sketch out this one. I observe if I come over here, that this one starts, kind of goes up a little higher. Right? Then there's this kind of chewed up guy here. He extends beyond the edge of this pot. So you want to make sure that whatever you have. Notice no stems. I'm mostly just trying to place the leaves in position. If you remember from the days of the lily so long ago, that's what we did with the lily. We were like, we did the flowers first, and then this last guy here. There's strange looking plants. The Monsterra.
Is it called a Monsterra?
Monsterra. It's definitely a Monsterra, which is kind of an obsession with plant people. Like if you talk to plant people, Monsterra is it for them. That's all.
It's called Monsterra.
Monsterra. I just realized I put this in the wrong place, so I'm speeding it up a little bit. Learn from my mistakes. Ah, yes. Here.
Yeah, I mean, when you live in like countries like Sweden, they are really good indoor plants because they don't require much light. And
right, and just look at the shape of them. They're fascinating. They're like very sort of prehistoric looking in this weird kind of way. Weird. Here's some sort of baby Monstera leaves. Maybe there's another one here. Now I can kind of bring my stem up. Bring one out here. See how much easier it is to bring your stems up once you know where your leaves are situated. Everything kind of is coming back. This is here.
oh, you stay here, sunshine.
This fascinating. Oh, I see there's another. This fascinating. I feel like they have this structure that's just like you kind of can obsess about. I don't know how much you guys were watching. You're probably doing it yourself, but I want you to observe how much I had to kind of change the shape of my leaf. I didn't have it in the right place. Yada, yada. You might want to get inside your Monstera leaves. Get those. I mean, look at these weird holes. I don't know. They're just fascinating.
Hey, Simon. I love you too.
Oh.
No, I'm painting.
Sunny's experiencing a little bit of depression because Diana's not around every single minute of the day for her. Julia is like, now you know how I feel. Julia's like, I was the queen. And then you came along, Sunny.
Yeah. Poor Julia. But
Yeah,
Julia
so-
knows exactly when Sunny is in her crate or put away, she comes running out this second.
Right. She's no dummy.
No. And I mean, it's not that she's afraid of Sunny, but
No, it's just like Julia used to get all the attention and now like, because she was the newbie and now she, then Sunny came along and then Sunny got a lot of attention and now Sunny's not getting as much attention because like you have to leave sometimes. Hey, did you get your car, by the way, Diana?
I'm getting it in March.
Oh, you're getting in March. Okay.
That's when she's moving back.
Got it. Got it.
I'm buying a Mercedes convertible.
Mm.
Little California girl.
Yeah. I doubt I drive it a lot with the roof down, but you can have a convertible in California.
You guys can see probably that what I am doing here is sketching in the lights and darks and some of the shapes of each of the leaves. You don't have to do a lot. These are expressive plants and they have a lot of structure. And I'm also getting in a little bit of the texture of the pot, the light and darks of the pot. Not everything. I don't have to do every shape, but there's some kind of basic structural shapes. Not everything, but some things. And then, of course, there's the, okay, so let's see. Yeah, Ronald, the more I look at this, the more I'm going to say you were right on that one.
On what one?
Where the light's coming from.
Yeah, it's a little confusing, isn't it?
It's very confusing, but I think it's more likely coming from the top,
Yeah.
kind of top left.
Yeah.
But when you first look at it, but definitely there's a strong light coming from the right, because this one is so light.
Yeah.
And the shadow on the bottom there under the left leaf as well.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Penguins are funny looking.
They are. But you're right. And then there's this happening. That is almost always the problem with Unsplash photos. They are not pro photos. They are not often set up professionally. This is people goofing around with their cell phones, with their cameras. All right. Paul, okay. Paul, if you look at your drawing, the halfway point should be here. And you have it.
Yeah, a bit down, huh?
Yeah.
All
You need
right.
to bring your pot below the halfway point. Your pot doesn't start till this far, like almost 1 inch below the halfway point.
Well, what about the leaves? Should I move those too, or?
Everything has to go, of course.
Oh.
Well, what do you think? You move the pot, the leaves have to move. Sorry, here, hold on. What's going on? Okay. Ah. Let me send you guys a picture of this. Ah, there we go. Paul, you are very guilty of this. You are perfectly capable of paying attention to measurements. I've watched you, but I do notice that when you first get into class, you kind of sometimes struggle.
Well, no, because what you do is you end up, you're showing it to us.
Yes.
And I always get stuck on one thing, and then yeah, so like it's hard for me. I can't keep up.
So you shouldn't try and keep up. You should watch and then send me your measurements.
Yeah, I think what I should do is I should just
I
position
just,
position everything, and
I
then
think you should, yeah, send me your measurements before you start drawing. I know it's really tempting to follow me along. Let's see, Rollo. Rollo, you have brought your pot down too low. You don't
Yeah.
have room for your, give it enough. Number one, it's too, you have it too narrow.
The
right?
pot.
The pot, yeah. The width of the pot should be the same, almost the same as the height of the pot. But the second thing is that you don't have room for your,
Shadows.
yeah. So bring up, actually, if you bring this pot up, it might, and maybe widen it a little bit, that should work. I don't think you'll need to get rid of these. It's funny how easy it is to make things too big. Yeah, so Paul, as sort of a general rule, I'm trying to quickly go through this so you guys can watch and then give you time to do it. You're not necessarily meant to do it with me unless you can follow along. So let yourself watch me. I don't care how slow you go. I would rather you go slow and get it right. Then sort of do it with me. It's a nice little
I noticed
subject.
Lisa's was, yeah. I'll slow
that?
down. I'll slow down.
Slow down, slow your roll, no rush. It helps, it'll help. Yeah, because I always know you can pull it out, Paul.
Yeah, yeah.
You definitely do it. You always do it. So I'm like, I'm glad we figured that out. There was another student that was happening to as well. I'm trying to remember who it was. There was somebody else where I just kept losing them on the measurements. And then I finally realized, oh yeah, they're trying to keep up with me. Don't keep up with me. You can go slower. Take your time on getting this drawing done. Let's see. Better, Rollo.
It might need to change the shape of the pot though.
A little bit. Yep, just you can, but all those corrections can be made with where you have everything. So yeah, the mouth is a little bit too big here. Remember that perspective is working on this lid. So the back part of the lid, or sort of the back part of the open mouth of the pot is kind of narrowed in, and the front part is a little bit wider and rounder. The back part is almost like like if I was to draw a line right down the halfway point, this back part is like 3 straight lines. The front part is a little bit kind of pooches out, is a little bit rounder. That'll get you every single time. If you want to, you can put in these little like bamboo sticks. I'm not sure I like them. I'm gonna put them in for now, but I might take them out. I'm not sure I like them so much though. I don't think they're so necessary. There's another one that kind of comes in like that.
I experienced my first Karen this week.
What happened?
It was right after the Super Bowl, and I came back to finish off my work. I was next door, and people were out in the street celebrating, and this woman did not like it.
Okay,
like,
so my question is, how old was she? Was she our age? Was she my
No,
age?
she was probably about 40.
Oh, even worse.
And she's there going, I'm calling the police. What are you guys making all this noise for? And it's just like, because Los Angeles just won the Super Bowl.
Right. Do you think we have the possibility of celebrating?
I know, and she's there going,
Wow.
you're being assholes.
Oh my fucking God.
Yeah,
Yeah, that sounds very Karen-y.
it was.
White on white is complicated.
White on white is complicated, yes.
I don't
Right.
want violence.
It's a penguin on ice or a penguin on snow.
Well, what you'll notice is there's very little white is with the way to think
Yeah,
about
yeah,
it, right?
Yeah.
White on white. It's white, but there's not so much white in white.
Diana, can you
It's not very white.
Diana, can you do us a favor and actually say penguin in Swedish? It's my favorite word.
What is your what is the
Penguin.
penguin? What is penguin in Swedish?
Penguin.
Penguin.
Penguin. Oh yes,
I love it.
it's really great.
I love it.
Penguin.
I was sitting with some Swedish friends in London in a bar, and they were talking in Swedish, and I didn't know what they were saying. And then one of them said "penguin," and I was like, "What is
Penguin.
that word? I need to know what that word is."
I love it. I always thought I lived in Budapest for a couple of years, and you know that language. I tried to study the language. It's an incredibly hard language to learn. I never really learned it, but there were a few words that were like total like crossovers, and my favorite is "fantastikus." just a way of saying fantastic. Fantastikus.
Oh dear, I've never understood why. In French, French numbers are bonkers, but why they call a fortnight like 15? So
I don't know.
the fortnight is Kanzen, which is more like a 5 number.
Yeah, that is weird.
Yeah.
Okay, so Paul, now your pot is a little, well, let's see.
Well,
About 1.5 inches, I think.
Just needs to bring it up a little bit here.
Yeah.
And you have it as a rectangle. It's
Yeah,
really not a rectangle, so just square it up. But in general, things look like they're, and this leaf is much bigger. It's like twice the size that you have it. Same with this guy.
Okay.
This one's the right size. I don't see what's happened to this. You have to have the room for these two. Right?
Yeah.
These are 2. So maybe you might even want to scoop your pot a little bit to the right. So you have more room on the left.
Yeah, I could probably try that.
You can do that for sure. That won't wreck your drawing.
Okay.
I think I'm going to
Yeah.
use pastels and chalk. Chalk.
You don't want to use any paint just at the beginning? I would use a paint base.
Maybe.
Use a paint base and then pastels and chalk on top. The paint really provides this beautiful sort of beginning texture. And then you can totally like ham it up with whatever else you're using.
Okay, I'm just a bit worried because I'm meant to get some more paints, and I've only got 2 greens, and
That's okay.
they're very
That's okay.
strong.
What are your greens? What are they called?
They're probably just called green and dark green, probably.
Okay, yeah, right.
Called,
Most likely.
deep green
Uh-huh.
and it's upside down. Yellowish green.
Okay, so as long as you've got yellow and a little bit of red, you can do a lot with your greens. So I would not worry. Two greens is plenty. Well, in fact, I'm getting a little bit more yellow in my pans.
As long as you have some yellows and blues, you're good.
Yeah, you'll be fine. You can adjust your greens with yellows and blues. Exactly. Get off, get off. Here we are.
Just gonna be back in a second.
Okay.
Are you gonna smoke again?
Yes.
No, you have to
Oh.
keep that up.
No.
He's like, no. No, not me. I ain't giving that up. All right, well, I need a minute to load up my paints.
Hmm.
Yeah, yellow is the more important.
Yeah.
The more important factor in this.
Oh, I have. It looks so funny, these birds.
They are a little funny.
This
They're
is
so funny.
yeah. This is a photo by Nick Att.
Oh, yeah.
He's the one that took the famous photo of the napalm girl in
Yep,
Vietnam.
yep.
He's a great photographer.
He really is. I agree.
But he retired, so now he's taking a lot of nature photos.
Right, he's probably fucking sick of seeing misery everywhere. Not that you won't find a certain amount of misery in nature photos, I mean.
He's still friends with Kim Pak, who is the girl, the napalm girl.
Yes, I have read that story. It's really pretty amazing.
Yeah. We honored them at the press club.
Oh, yeah?
Honored him at the press. Yeah, and she.
Is he in
came
LA?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Nice.
He's in LA. He's been here since he was out of Vietnam.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
So yeah, he's here. We honored him, and Kim Pak came in and presented the award to him.
Oh, he must have like cried.
Yeah, there wasn't
dry
one dry eye in that audience.
I can't even I can't even imagine.
And Peter Arnett also came in. He worked at the Associated Press at the time that happened.
Wow.
So he also was there. It was a really moving evening.
Oh, it sounds amazing.
One of those evenings you remember for the rest
of your life, right?
Yeah. It really was.
It sounds wonderful.
Yeah.
Yes, your work is wonderful, Diana. Remember that as it's making you crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, we do some good things. It's fun.
Oh, yeah. Do a lot of good things.
I mean, it's fun because it does from time to time it feels meaningful.
Right. There is the opportunity to do very meaningful work. Yeah. Well, and that is important to you, so you'll make sure, and you have a lot of control. So you can make sure that happens. I mean, somebody else in your position could totally not make it meaningful, right?
Yeah.
It's just the kind of person that you are, you're like, we're gonna do this, meaningful, beautiful thing. So that's kind of nice.
Well, I'm going to take a photo of my crazy.
Send over your
Crazy.
crazy. Let's take a look.
He's crazy. He's crazy.
He's crazy.
Yeah, he really is. I'm probably going to have to work for a while on this one to get it feeling.
Totally right.
Yeah.
It's just what you need is a little, kind of an easy one to fuss around. It's a nice. It's a nice.
Where are you people? Wednesday. There you are.
Penguin, penguin, penguin,
Penguin.
penguin, penguin. That's exactly what he is. He's a penguin. Ah. Little penguin. Thank you, Diana. That was much needed.
I need to see it. Hold on.
All right. So, Paul, wherever you are in this process, stop for just a minute to watch the mixing. I am very happy to do this over again. Okay. So, I am totally happy to remix and re-show you. So, once again, I want you not to feel like you have to worry about getting everything exactly right. You'll see that it's sort of here I have this, like, what it's a little bit difficult to show everything. Maybe I can move this up a little bit. I just want you to be able to see. Oh yeah, there we go. This white paper, which I have for testing. It's like that's important in watercolor, right? The testing. And what Diana said was really true about this, about testing your colors. So if you're mixing a green, like I have this, oh, let me also clean out my, give me just a second. Let me grab a paper towel so I can clean up my thing.
Are you doing a watercolor today?
Who, me?
Leah.
So the key thing to remember about greens that's maybe not intuitive when you're mixing paint for paint is that these light yellow greens, all these planty greens, they aren't just green, right? That's not the color. This color that you see out of the tube here just is not the color of the plant. Even adding a little yellow to it, a little bit better, but as you can see, it's not quite the color of the plant. I need to add a tiny touch of red to it, not a lot, but just a little bit to my green base to create the real natural green colors. Look at this difference. I mean, these things are like with the red in it. This is almost the same. Add a little bit of yellow to lighten it. So your green, so Rollo, I take your dark green, just a touch of cadmium, not too much. Mix it in there, add a little bit more green, and then you'll lighten it with yellow. So if you want to, you have the option of, and mix it in with that green base that's got a little red in it. So if you want to, you can start with the whole, I want to be really careful here. These light areas, you want to, I think maybe the best strategy, I'm just looking at these, is to start with kind of a light yellowy green with a touch of red wash. Now I'm not going over remember where your holes are in your leaf, right? I'm going around the holes because the holes are very distinctly not the leaf color. I can do this whole leaf in this color. In this kind of light yellowy, greeny, slightly red color. I'm using a lot of water. I can do that here too. Come in here. You come here. Because at the only place I want to be really careful about is up here. There are some parts of the leaf that are actually entirely white. So those I want to kind of work around. Yes, I know this is not exactly the right color, but I'm not worried about it. There's also another evidence that Rollo is right, because this is where all the white spots are, even though it's kind of yellowish here. The sort of super bright highlights are here. So even though this plant is much darker, I'm working around the white areas. Even down here. See, I have to mix a little bit more color. Even though I could afford to go darker here because this whole thing is dark, I'll probably start a little bit more yellow light, even here. And then I can layer in my darks. So in a way, we're kind of toning this whole thing. These guys. This whole thing, these kind of light greens. Then I can go back in and mix green with red. Go over here. And I can go darker, like up here. Look at how beautiful that is. There, love that color. Might like lighten it with just a little bit of water. I think it's a little bit lighter here, right? Yeah, a little bit greener, yellower. I'm trying to kind of leave the center here and here. So you see how I'm kind of sketching in the darker areas, kind of just over the parts that are darker. Here. Here. I can come back in and just go with yellow, mostly yellow. Over the top here. And I can go darker in my green. So as I start to layer more color on, I can kind of keep the areas. And I want to actually wait. Do you see how this is starting to kind of show a little bit of color differentiation? I can also really push this with my other medium, right? My, whatever I'm deciding to use. But I can get kind of a basic variation here. I'm going to move over here. See how I'm kind of working around the lights. I'm trying to leave a few of the veins of the plants. Also the center, which is kind of lighter. See how I'm working just around. Yeah. It's lighter. I can also go back in and add with a different medium lights. I can use gouache or pastel leaf or anything to do that. So you can see now I'm just using red and green to mix a dark, dramatic color, which I can use here. This is a very dramatic plant, the Monsterra. Notice I'm leaving a little bit of the vein again in between, although because I'm using other medium, I can go back in and add that with something else. This is quite dark. So try working those leaves a little bit. You don't have to get everything, but you want to get just a little bit. Starting with mixing a little bit of red and some yellow in your greens. Rollo, even if you decide to use your yellow green, add a little red to it.
Yeah.
Just a touch. You can add more yellow to it if it's not exactly the right. Penguin.
Let's have a look at the penguin.
This is what it looks like.
Oh, it's adorable. I want one.
They are cute, aren't they?
Yeah.
My God, I was realizing I couldn't hear anything. It was because my volume. Could you guys hear me?
Yep.
Okay, great. I just couldn't hear you. Sorry about that. You might decide, like my green that I'm using is kind of, I don't have Viridian right now, so I'm using Hooker's green. I'm going to add a little bit of blue to my Hooker's green to make it a little bit dark, sort of bluer on the top layer, less yellowy, because I feel like this is super yellowy. See, I can go back in again and kind of shift the tone.
You used Viridian and Hookers. Is that what you
I
combine?
actually don't have Viridian in watercolor right now, so I just use Hookers. You should use Viridian if you've got it. I think you'll like.
I have enough. I have just barely enough with.
Do it. And I will go get some at the art store. I was just there today. I can't believe I didn't. think to look up my watercolor supplies.
Yeah, I was actually, I was so excited at the supply store that, I forgot to go to the art store.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's okay. It happens to the best of us.
Well, I mean, it's a hassle to any of the stores are tough to get to.
It is true.
I don't know.
Yeah, the pandemic has gotten me so used to order everything online. It's
Right?
almost feel ashamed.
Blick is impossible. That's the worst place. I mean, even when you go in the store, you can't, like, they don't price things correctly, and online is even worse.
Really?
Yeah, it's a nightmare.
That's too bad. Our stores here aren't too bad. I don't mind them. They're pretty good. But maybe I can imagine it would be trickier maybe to source in LA. It's just bigger.
Oh, yeah.
More people. Sometimes I think I forget how unpopulated Oregon is. Really. Just not that many of us here.
No?
No, there's like 3 million people in the whole state. Most of them in Portland. The whole outside of the Portland area is like super conservative, like a whole bunch of counties next to, and basically all the counties outside of Multnomah, Washington, and Clackamas, where I am, all voted to like join Idaho. I want to be part of like Oregon, but there's so few of them. It just doesn't matter. I think they're definitely in the minority, even though it's most of the state. Let's see. Oh, nice, Rollo. Yeah, you see what I mean? A good beginning.
One of the leaves is
You were
shining.
adding red, right? You're
I've
adding a little
been
bit
adding
of
red.
Yeah.
I've been doing my palette in a completely different way this week.
Yeah, how so?
Well, before I was just mixing paints together, and now I'm dabbing them from the thing and putting them in a different place.
Yes, that's a great way to do it. That's a great way to do it.
So, and I just
It just helps you stay organized and get cleaner, right? That's why I love this little palette. Like, this palette is actually incredible because I can keep all of the paints, each separate paint here, and then I can wipe these off. And I have 3 little trays, actually 4 little trays, actually 6 little trays I can mix different things in, and it's helpful to do that. It's really helpful.
Yeah,
Right,
I've done it this way now. So I've just put the paints in a couple of the pots and then done the other one.
Yep, exactly. It's a great way
You
to
just
do
wipe
it.
them out, can't you?
Yes, you just wipe them out. And in fact, I'm trying to decide if we want to do that or we want to take this green. So if we want to stick with these colors, my suggestion is to take the green and a touch of burnt sienna. So instead of mixing like cadmium red, try a little burnt sienna in the mix and a touch of blue, ultramarine blue, to create a kind of darker green with a slightly different tint to it, because this is really green. But it's kind of a bluer green. It also has a little red in it. So I'm mixing green. I'm kind of skipping around all the lighter parts. And I'm letting my paint kind of run out a little bit. as I come in here. And then I think, let's test this. I think it's burnt sienna, but let's see. I wonder if it's burnt sienna and a little ochre. I'll have to put this up here so we can test a little bit first. So I'm trying a little bit of ochre with burnt sienna, because you want it to be ochre or gamboge, which is a fantastic watercolor color, which I've never really seen in any other. It's a little bit too green. Actually, what I think I need to do is flip this up so you can see the lighter colors. Let me wipe these guys out again, at least one little tray. So I've got a clean tray here. I'm kind of looking at what that earthy pot color is. So here's a little burnt sienna. It's kind of a beginning. I'm lightening it with a little bit of ochre and maybe even a little white. No, I don't really like the white. So white, burnt sienna. And yellow ochre, I think, are kind of the light pot colors.
I think yours is really coming along.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good. It's looking good. I find this idea of the mixed media really freeing.
Yeah.
Because you don't have to do everything, right? So I could just kind of start it off. There's something about not having to do something in one medium. Then if you want to, it just makes it easier, right?
Yeah, and Rolo, your leaves are really
They look great, right?
yeah, they look great.
Yeah. So yeah, I'd say burnt sienna and a little bit of yellow ochre or gamboge and a lot of water will do this lighter yellow. I'm finding the bamboo annoying already, so I'm just skipping it. And then the question becomes, what is this color on the ground? I wonder if we should play with this color on the ground. The color on the ground is kind of boring. So I wonder if we should make it like a sort of a little bit oranger. Maybe just for continuity. Burnt sienna, maybe orange, if you've got it. And gamboge. I'm looking at these. Yeah, I feel like I kind of think I'm even kind of going over the shadows with this color, because whatever color we mix with the shadows, it will be kind of this color plus something else. So this is really more burnt sienna, a little bit of orange and ochre. Right? And then for the shadow, I just do a little bit of burnt sienna and a touch of ultramarine blue, so that you get a nice little brown. So here's burnt sienna. Here's ultramarine blue. Maybe a little bit more burnt sienna if you want it a little bit more browny. And see, then I can lay that down nicely. It'll also work as a nice first layer for the pot up here, the dirt in the pot. I'll go darker on that later. You can add more burnt sienna if I want it to be oranger. But I think that looks kind of nice. And then it has a kind of continuity because we kind of toned it. Yeah. Then maybe a little bit darker, a little bit more blue. Get even darker. Here in the dirt. I can go back and get a little bit dark in some areas like here. I'm even bringing this brown kind of up here a little bit. Yeah. And that's probably all I'm going to do with watercolor. Then I'm going to move to other things. See, then I think it gets really fun to add pastels. I'll wait for you guys to catch up. Paul, do not hesitate to ask me to do this again. I'm happy to tell you any mixes you want, so don't worry.
Great, okay.
Follow you too. Okay, this is better. This leaf is bigger. It's wider. Believe it or not, this leaf is a little bit longer. These two look great. Remember to make your jar narrower, the pot narrower at the top. You've got the mouth a little bit too wide. Other than that, it's looking good. Watercolor always, I think, looks better with a little bit of light. Oh yeah, Rollo, really nice. Nice.
Have you done it on the wall?
What's that?
I can do that later.
Yeah, you can, or you can leave the wall white.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of the interesting things about working with watercolor and these mixed media is sometimes the light actually is a nice counterpoint, right? A kind of nice thing to all of the busyness. Because now I might go in, now I'm looking at this. I've got this light green pastel pencil. I might come in here and bring that in and try to kind of structure a little bit. In fact, I've got all of them. Or I might take my charcoal pencil, right, and add a little bit of structure to like some of the solid things. See how that like helps kind of fill things out, or maybe I come in here.
There are actually quite a lot of, in the original photo, there's quite a lot of like black highlights in some way.
Right.
So so compressed that it's almost black.
Yes, exactly. And like down here. And so you can like add more color. Let's see, I'm just looking to see what colors I've got here. I've got all these crazy pastel pencils. Nothing really super exciting except for this green one. I mean, shoot, I could go in like this, right, with the yellow pastel and pull out the yellows that I kind of didn't get as much as I wanted to in. But I would also want to balance that out with a little bit of charcoal pencil, or maybe even this brown pencil. I still feel like this can, yeah, there we go. maybe I want to use this part for the light areas. The green, maybe a little bit down here. Right. Maybe I want to go back in with a little bit. Structure here. Maybe I want to go in with some gouache. Right? Like white gouache. My little white gouache container. I'm almost always going in with white gouache, right? Which is more opaque. So it's more likely to layer nicely on top. All of these mediums kind of don't work too badly together. They're not the worst to use together. So I could come in like this and kind of brush in some white here, maybe here, maybe here, maybe here where I kind of lost it a little bit. What else? White. A little bit down here. Need a touch in here, not too much, but just a little bit. I don't know. Not too much wash is needed. So this is where, like, kind of playing with texture. And I think everybody has their own way of doing this. And so I don't like to be too, I want to be like kind of permissive. I want you to try everything without feeling like you have to, you have to do anything. Oh, I found this really cool. Here we go. I was looking for my yellow pastel pencil. Let's see what we can do with this business. Sharpen it a little bit. I have a yellow pastel pencil. Maybe I can get a little bit, maybe not. Maybe I just went too dark. There's nothing I can do here. Maybe there's some kind of nice. Maybe it's something that will look better. On top of the pot. So why not? This brown has funny. I don't normally work with these. This is a purple pastel pencil. I'm kind of adding this purple element to kind of darken. I think I like that. I might not want it so. I'm adding a little bit of purple into my pot too. Because why not? Why not put a little bit around? It's kind of hard to mess it up. I say, right before. That's a really terrible thing to say. The universe is just daring me to mess this up at that point. pretty. I'm gonna sit for a second and watch what you guys do. Paul, tell me if you want any demos. Paul, tell me if you want any demos.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm gonna abandon you in a second.
Okay.
I'm starting to be starving.
No, I was going to try and get out early today because I was going to get some food, but
That's okay. We can do, you guys can,
This
this
is what I
kind of
have.
strangely, do you want to go till 7:30, you guys? Can you wait another 10 minutes?
sure.
Yeah.
Yes. Why don't you wait another 10 minutes and then if we're kind of ready to go, we can stop and just work on our own. Sometimes the lesson only takes a little while. This is really a fun
Yeah.
piece. Oh yeah, I know it. I kind of lost my holes, my leaf holes in this plant. So I actually use my white to kind of put them back in. It didn't work too badly. And I might be able to thin that out a little bit. Yeah, that's pretty good too. Yeah, just work for 10 more minutes. By the way, Paul, I really liked where that drawing was going. So I hope it was looking good.
Yeah, I think I have to finish up the leaves and we can start. I can start
Painting. Adding color.
add some color. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm talking with a bunch of new teachers who are going to start teaching classes on Sundays. And one of them is my friend Lotto is going to teach a printmaking from home class where you use things like styrofoam plates and stuff like that to do really cool printing exercises. It's
that sounds-
incredible what you
Yeah.
can use just with mostly things around the house. I think you guys.
No,
would really like it.
I like to go to the in LA we have the printing museum.
Uh-huh.
I go that they always have events. I went there. They always have they have this big gala, not like a festival, basically where they just have print items.
Nice.
And but yeah, they always have different, but they like you can go there and they have these ancient printing machines and they made it, they have a print. You can have like your own classic print, and you know, whatever they have. And they have plates. I got a free plate from a plate. This guy had he had a plate business. He gave me a free plate. And yeah, there's all kinds of things that it's I recommend, even though like I know we're journalists and we're supposed to be separate from, we're not really printers, but it's an iffy area, you know.
I remember in my first job, I watched the printing presses. I remember, I'm old enough to remember that.
Yeah.
I remember watching the dang printing presses, like watching the, how do you say it? Like, I mean, like it was all set in type and it was amazing.
Yeah, I worked, the first newspaper I worked with, they worked with lead types.
Right? There's been a lot of change.
I still think I have a couple of pages from them, you know, the lead typeset.
I think we've seen a lot of change. When I started, there were still people cutting the, running the little computer, the sticky things and cutting them out and laying them
Yeah, that was called offset printing.
offset. Yes, they were still doing offset printing. And then
Oh,
by
that came after the lead types.
yeah. Oh, that's cool, Rollo. See how nice that is?
Yeah, it's
Do
lovely.
a little bit of, do something with your shadows with the pastels. Go over with another color, maybe
Yeah.
purple. I like this white line here too. I think that really looks nice. Just go another 5 minutes, you guys, and
Yeah,
then,
what
then I'll let
colour
you go.
would say for shadow? Dark purple.
Why not? I think it
Ooh.
would look very pretty with the, I have noticed that green and purple are an amazing combination. They are, you don't have to go super dark because these aren't as dark. This is not as dark as this, right? You can see it. Here it is. You can see the value of the shadow is lighter than the value of this. This value is lighter, but it's still, you can color it in some way. Give it another layer of color and it'll really pop nicely. I feel like, Paul, you've even talked about the print museum before to us.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny, they have a Kelly paper store directly behind it.
Nice.
Yeah, you in one swoop, you can go to Alpine Village and go there one day if you really pay for something.
That sounds
You
great.
know what Alpine Village is, right, Leah? You heard of
No,
it?
I don't. Tell me.
It's this place in Torrance, Torrance, which is sort of kind of it's a city next to between Long Beach. There's Long Beach, the port, the Long Beach, and Torrance. Anyway, it's this like Oktoberfest hall / like nice. It's like a Germany village type of thing. It's quite. It's just like a tourist attraction. It's kind of like
Neat. What is it called?
Alpine Village. Called Alpine Village.
I missed a leaf.
Get it in. Hey, Rollo, I have one more suggestion. I like the white a little bit on your pot, but I feel it's a little too stark. Is there another, like a little bit of yellow you can add on top?
Yeah, sure. I'll just go.
That. I feel like it's just a flattening a little bit. Too much white can have that effect. Little pops of white can really can create these highlights that really make things jump forward, but too much white can be a little flattening. How's your penguin, Diana?
I don't know. I'll send you a picture.
Please send it. It's so dang cute.
I'm making it worse, I think, but it's okay.
It's okay. It always gets worse before it gets better. It's awkward, right? We just like to say it's awkward before it gets better. Also, your idea of worse is not everybody else's. Big win.
Yeah.
Oh, I want to see it. Hold on, where is it?
It's on the thread. Here, I'll hold it up.
Red.
Look
It's on
at
the.
it.
Oh, it's adorable.
It's getting there. I'm proud of you for doing it, even though you're like, I'm so tired and I have so much work to do and I'm so hungry. Good for you.
I wanted to have the Superman symbol on the front of the penguin.
Yeah, but I might finish it tomorrow, I think. Hopefully.
All right.
An updated version.
Let's see. Yeah. See how the yellow just kind of warms it up? Ooh, I like that. I like the little, what I like is this little rim of orange you put right in here too. That also like really pops things forward. Paul, let's see where you're at right now.
Okay.
Do you see what I mean, Rollo, about the white? It like you put in the yellow and it's kind of warming, and these little pops of white are helpful, but not too much.
Yeah.
Because it,
That's great.
yeah, it looks really great. Sometimes white can really be helpful if you're trying to sort of create flat surfaces, right? That push back. So it's not like you can't paint with white. And one of the things I've learned about abstract art, for example, is that like white is hugely important when you're kind of laying. Oh my God, Paul, great drawing. Wonderful. Wonderful. So just go light, man. Go light. Light yellowy green with a little bit of red. Layer your darks on slowly. That is my recommendation.
I can't believe.
All right, those of you who want to go, you can go. I'm going to stay on about 5 minutes longer with Paul to make sure he's started correctly, and then I'll take off too.
Great. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
How calm my dog is.
Oh, let's see. Oh, the look. She is looking at you though, like, are you is she just sleeping or is she just waiting for you?
She's waiting for me.
She's waiting. She doesn't look like she's sleeping. She looks like she's waiting for you.
Yeah.
Oh, you should sing Coco. I can show her later, but she heard you talking and she nestled herself in, and she's kind of chilling in the back listening to you. She likes to listen.
Coco and us, we're friends. We're friends, aren't we, Paul? With Coco.
You guys are best gals. Yeah.
This class, Diana and myself like meet Coco a lot. Rollo is, all of us in this class are kind of Coco's friends.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
Coco, you're a good girl. All right, you guys. So those of you who want to go can go. You did good today. Sometimes it's sometimes it's we get stuff done early.
Yeah. I was thinking this is going to be more complicated than it was, but it was.
I know, right? Did you see Mariana was like, oh no, it's so hard. And I'm like, it's actually not that hard. This is probably the easiest one. Because of the structure of the leaves, which I think is quite concrete, so fairly easy to get get the shapes, and also because the colors are kind of simple. So not all that much mixing. Paul, what do you need from me before I pop off?
Okay, I'm heading off.
Bye, Rollo.
Right.
Great work today. Lovely. See you next week. So Paul, what do you need from me before I pop off?
To be honest, I think
You got it?
I got it. Yeah, because like you said, so I want to create that olive neon that you have.
Yeah.
And just cover it with another.
Yeah, so start with lighter colors and then move to darker colors.
I always watch the video.
Yeah.
But you have the green and the yellow.
Yeah.
So you go lightly over with that, and then you go over it again with green, less green and a little less yellow, right?
Yeah, well, darker. I go darker on my top layers.
Darker on their top layers.
So it's
okay.
really, everything's kind of yellow. Let me see if I can remind you before I go. Let's see, what's up? I think I took a picture of it. I hope I did. Shit, I did not. Darn. I should have
That's
taken a
okay.
picture
Yeah,
of it.
that's fine.
Right. This is kind of the, this is where you want to wind up once you've got your light and then added your darks in. But the first color should all be like this color.
Okay,
Everywhere.
yeah.
On
All
all
right.
the
Yeah,
leaves.
I think I'm gonna try to find that color right now.
All right, dude. I'll be
hello.
around. You can ask me questions via WhatsApp if you want to.
Yeah,
Okay,
totally.
great
Okay.
work, Paul. Wonderful
Yeah,
drawing,
yeah.
by the way. You're going to be very happy with this piece when it's done.
Yeah, I'm hoping.
Yeah. Okay, honey.
It'll definitely be something. One of your favorites.
One of my favorites for sure. All right, Paul. I'll see you soon.
Okay.
Take care.
Right. Bye.
Bye-bye.